Hey, what's happening? What's popping, everybody? You got the BBC King, and we're gonna be doing something kind of fun here. We're gonna be doing a matchup versus some god apparently, and we're gonna show this kid who's boss. So this is gonna be very interactive, and there should be a matchup on the screen, and we're gonna go over the thought process on how to team build. And so let's get into it. So, usually before I even start team building, I need to understand the opponent's team before I can build a team. Because how do you know what you're going to be building against if you don't know what they have? Okay, they have Tapu Koko, Cortana, Nihilego, Victini, Hydreigon, Xatu, Rotom, Mega Heracross, Swampert, Kecleon. So we see, all right, breaking down, okay, what are their offensive Pokemon? Okay, they got Tapu Koko, like Thunderbolt, Kartana. You got to understand the sets that they generally run, what they would run versus you, and how would they interact with your team. So with Tapu Koko, addressing the speed tiers, can we outspeed it with a non-choice Scarfer? No. So we do have a couple of speed tiers that are wrong. Tapu Koko with Talonflame and Greninja. And so we do have to have some ideas if there's ever a possibility, do we think that modest Tapu Koko could come if it wants to be aggressive, and do we want to punish that? If you look back on our roster, we actually have a lot of counterplay for Tapu Koko, and that's going to be very important for the rest of the team. We have Ferrothorn, which is in Generation 8, it's a full-on counter because there's really the only two ways Tapu Koko can punish something like Ferrothorn can be through the means of U-turn into things like Mega Heracross, Fire Blast, Hydreigon, Victini, Sacred Sword, Kartana, and then just chipping down with Nature's Madness, Taunt, so on and so forth. Now, in those type of exchanges, Tapu Koko, because Ferrothorn has a high attack stat and such things, like if we can force an exchange where Tapu Koko isn't a U-turn variant and it wants to kind of do those type of things, then we're gonna be fine with our Ferrothorn. So, so Kartana, we gotta count for Swords Dance, we gotta count for Choice Scarf, Victini. We gotta account for boots, so on and so forth. Okay, so now we kind of get the idea of like, okay, what's his team? So he's got a Mega Heracross and he's got a couple of breakers that are incredibly forcing. Now, if you're in a matchup where you're facing something, a team that you can just defensively counter the entire game, you can bring a pretty defensive-oriented team. But in this particular matchup, if you notice things like specifically Victini is going to be very forcing versus us. Because one, he's going to have the electric terrain support from Tapu Koko, and our fire resists are weak to electric. So we could, throw on the notepad, maybe run a walk-in berry on something like that. But for the most part, I do think that a lot of his team, we can pretty much quote-unquote wall things like Hydreigon, forever walled by Tapu Fini. And Hydreigon, I can run kind of two different sets that can kind of somewhat annoy Tapu Fini with Choice Specs Shockwave that isn't boosted by Electric Terrain because it's Levitate. And then obviously, well, not obviously, but a kind of like a gimmicky set, like a sub berry and a belch. So like a special attack berry boost, right? So these are like mega heat. You also might ask yourself, how the fuck do you even come up with such things like that? Basically, if you have a defensive Pokemon and you want to know if you can truly defensively counter something, like for example in the exchange of Tapu Fini and Hydreigon, you need to look at Hydreigon's coverage moves, and it has its highest base power moves that actually hit Tapu Fini super effective. They're going to be Belch and Shockwave. And Shockwave just being a very low base power move that does jack shit, and then Belch, that's a lot of conditions have to be met in order to do so, and then it's really bad. So by the way, how we doing, gang? So is there anything that any of you guys notice off this matchup that you guys think the opponent's end, what do you expect to come? What do you guys think?
Probably mixed Victini.
Yep.
Like the classic V-grade Bolt Strike Glacier.
I would think Banded or SD, but most likely Banded because it's just very free to click knockoff and like, or even Pads potentially if it wants to avoid Talonflame, because Pads also lets it get around Ferrothorn with SD and stuff like that. I do also think that like a timid Meteor Beam, the Hiligo, like for the speed boost, is going to be pretty dangerous because Ferrothorn is pressured by the combination of the Coco, the Kartana, and so once Ferrothorn's been chipped down, defensive like Lando is really the only like thing long term kind of stopping it, and I guess Audino, but those are both like easy to chip and punish throughout the game, so definitely like a speed boosting the Hiligo could be threatening.
So we're going to use an interesting term. Not sure if anybody's heard this term, but it is the idea of a lose condition. Okay, so for example, if you have something like Quiver Dance, Full Corona, so on and so forth, these are known as like win conditions because you set up Quiver Dance or something like that, and then you can win. Vice versa, you have to understand your lose conditions. So some of the things that have been mentioned are things that can sweep you, so you need to address those things. So when you team build, so for example, I'm facing 11 different Pokemon, but then the 11 different Pokemon, they could also then therefore run different items, EV spreads, moves, so on and so forth. So for example, let's just say in our particular matchup, we could create 5 different Victini sets. Okay, that could all be effective because we're not going to be worried about something like Rest Talk Victini or something like that. One, because he has Electric Terrain and Electric Terrain stops stuff like that. Rest, so it's like viable sets that could actually do anything, right? So essentially, with all this information, we're going to team build essentially versus 100 different Pokemon. Essentially, well, I mean maybe not necessarily that many, but it's the idea of your building versus the 11 Pokemon and then the multiple sets that they can run. So if there's 5 different variations of Tapu Koko that potentially could come, you're also building versus those. What do I do in these type of scenarios? And and we're gonna try to guard versus the most, right? So you can't, it's impossible to team build to account for every single thing, but we're going to build a team that's going to account for as many things that is most likely to come as possible, especially all the standard stuff. Because when you team build, if you expect something, the team of 6 with these moves and these sets, you should have a 100% win rate, regardless of even hacks and stuff like that. So that's basically what we're going to start with today.
So to clarify what you're saying here, Zazo, essentially is that you want to build your team in such a way that maybe not necessarily through direct counterplay defensive Pokemon, as an example, that you essentially have answers throughout the course of a game to multiple options of each of their Pokemon. And really the ultimate factor then it's going to determine a win or loss is your tools and how you play them versus that matchup.
Exactly. So what does that mean exactly? I'll give you a couple examples. We have a Mega Gallade. If Kartana always loses to Mega Gallade, except, these excepts are very important. 1, Choice Scarf. Okay, obviously because Choice Scarf, if Mega Gallade is then therefore in range of Leaf Blade or whatever move, it's going to be able to win that exchange. So that's something to keep in mind. But and Chople, like if it's like a really weird defensive Chople set or something like that, right? So you got to create, so it's like as long as Kartana isn't like either like weird focus sash tailwind or you're right, so like really fucking stupid shit, meaning Mega Gallade, there can be a million different Kartana sets, but virtually a million Kartana sets lose outright to full health max speed Mega Gallade with close combat. Very straightforward there. So we need to then therefore guard versus, if he is Choice Scarf Kartana and stuff like that, I need to have defensive counterplay because it's hard to outspeed something like a Choice Scarf Kartana, especially if we're not bringing that many Scarfers. We have to then defensively deal with these type of answers. So and then also understand what moves the Mons mostly click offensively or just lyric wise. So pretty much we got somewhat of an idea, and then also understand like how the matchup is going to work. Also looking more into it, because we do have full-on counters to a couple of his Pokemon, once again, we're not too worried about Hydreigon. Even Mega Heracross does have a very high attack stat, but the thing is one, most of our Pokemon naturally outspeed it because we don't have to worry about, Choice Scarf or anything like that because it's a Mega. So with Mega Heracross, we can generally outspeed it and then kind of beat it through those means, and we have one defensive soft check counter and Lando T, because there's the best move that Mega Heracross has is Bullet Seed, and obviously we can make a Landorus avoid a 2-KO from Bullet Seed easily. But, and then also kind of one concept that Glop was talking about is that we also don't want to flood our Pokemon. So for example, if Ferrothorn's role is to deal with Tapu Koko, but then it's also supposed to deal with Kartana Leaf Blade, but then also therefore supposed to be, it's our main rock resist versus Nihilego. We can't do everything, but we're going to see in this matchup what we can do. So the first item, we'll get back to Ferrothorn. So okay, now that we kind of have an idea of what his team is, then we also need to think of like what kind of like play style I think is best. I think that if we look at his team now and our Pokemon, he doesn't have a very good water resist. Okay, he's literally got one water resist and a Hydreigon. Okay, we have a Tapu Fini that pressures that, and we have a Greninja, so we have two water types that and so these type of concepts now, what we're talking about is unguardable. So water moves are very unguardable, bar Hydreigon, because Kartana is a water resist, but not really, obviously, because the special attackers are just going to be doing way too much. And yeah, so it's just every single time we come in, we can click water moves. So that's something to keep in mind.
Something I was thinking about, Zazo, and I just want to quickly touch back to a point you were talking about with Ferrothorn and its, how it's pressured into handling a lot of threats. I think the concept you were kind of alluding to, and we didn't explicitly say, was I use the terminology of sort of committing the Mon to a certain piece. So when you're building a team, you essentially say, okay, my Ferrothorn can't handle everything, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to dedicate it to be the main switch in for Koko and also for Nihilego. Maybe I don't use it as my Kartana answer, because if I use it for all three, it's going to get worn down too quickly. But if I dedicate maybe, say, the Talonflame to the Kartana, and then I dedicate this Koko to the Nihilego or to the Koko and Nihilego, then you're making it easier to sort of take pressure off of the Mons and in turn make them better at doing what it is you need them to accomplish.
Yep, exactly. And on this particular team, we do kind of also have one option with the utility of Audino being able to wish pass to Ferrothorn. That is an option, but also when you consider these type of things to be able to win the game defensively, we can do such things. But once again, does he have, so the things that would pressure Ferrothorn, okay, these are going to be mainly Hydreigon, Mega Heracross, and Victini, mainly Victini. Victini, we can switch into Victini one time with one Pokemon, but it does 2-KO everything, because even if we were to run like a walk-on berry on Tapu Fini or something like that, it doesn't work if Victini outspeeds and Victini has electric terrain up and clicks Bolt Strike or Thunderbolt, whatever, like that 2 times, regardless of the resist berry, it's gonna get 2-KO'd. So because of that, I'm actually gonna shy away from Mega Audino. We could get back to that, but now we're gonna actually start team building now that we got like a general gist. Okay, so the first Pokemon I want to build around is Mega Glade, because naturally, so it's like, okay, how do I get with Mega Glade? Generally, you want to bring your best Pokemon every single matchup, but specifically in regards to the speed tiers, Mega Glade outspeeds every single Pokemon. If we run basically max speed, we're going to be able to outspeed every single Pokemon bar Tapu Koko. And we are basically going to not care about Tapu Koko's speed, because we're going to be able to have defensive counterplay where we have Ferrothorn and then secondary backup checks defensively in Landorus, if we choose to do so. And then potentially speed control for Tapu Koko with the Choice Scarf if need be.
Something I can't. Oh, I was gonna say something I kind of noticed, and it wasn't the first idea that popped into my mind, but the more I looked at this matchup, the more I could see value in it. I'm almost wondering if bulk up Gillade is a good call, because I'm sure we could EV it such a way that it still outpaces the Victini and the Hydreigon, but also has utility of maybe being able to take, a Dazzling Gleam from full. We could use that as sort of bait to eliminate that Coco, which then opens up a door for like the Greninja and the Feeny, like you were talking about, to kind of go off offensively. And also bulk up makes it very hard for, say a Scarf Victini or a Kartana, any kind of Kartana really, to revenge kill us because of the extra bulk that we're getting from the defense boost.
Exactly. Yep. So that's okay. So now we're gonna start team building with Mega Glade. So let's go open the team builder, and going to type in Mega Glade. So we can do speed creeps and stuff like that for another video, but I do think right now we're going to be just focusing right now. The first EVs we're even going to slap on Mega Glade as speed tiers, and because for right now we're going to make Mega Glade a speed tier to outspeed max speed Kartana. So we're going to start off with that. We might adjust the speed tier later on, but for right now, we're just going to run it to make sure we outspeed the Kartana. Because going back, if the only thing that outspeeds Mega Glade is going to be Coco, and we have a defensive counterplay to that, we're going to be in a good spot. So Kartana, I think everybody knows how to do.
I already got this set up on screen, man. You're good. I got us at 349.
So the dock has max speeds as well. Well.
Oh, thanks. I didn't even notice that. Yep. You're right.
So in regards to now moves that we're going to put on Mega Glade, and because we already have the item in there, and then also abilities, if we want to have Steadfast or Justified, I always pick Mega Glade Justified always in pre-mega form, because Steadfast never usually does anything. So okay, let's look at it real quick. Is there anything that necessarily can flinch? Base form Glade, not necessarily. Now you can say, well, Hydreigon, it can Dark Pulse
Zen
if we
Headbutt.
stay base forward, right? But it's like these things are so insanely niche.
Yeah.
Where, for example, going back to the Hydreigon thing, if we have Justified on base Glade, we can potentially switch into a Dark Pulse, get the +1 attack boost, and then because we're going to be able to outspeed, then we can get an even stronger. So okay, so always abilities pre-mega. Justified. Okay, first move we're actually going to put on here is going to be Zen Headbutt. How do I even get Zen Headbutt? Here we go. Mega Glade, it's mainly a fighting type that clicks close combat or drain punch. The reason why we're going to have Zen Headbutt first before any other moves is because when you look at his team, Zen Headbutt hits everything on his entire roster except for Kartana, obviously we can close combat, Victini, which we're gonna need coverage for, Hydreigon, which we can close combat, and Zen Headbutt comes so for example, Tapu Koko, we can play around with something like Earthquake or Poison Jab for Koko. Generally Earthquake is going to be stronger here because it's obviously way higher base power move.
I really like Earthquake here, actually. Yeah.
Okay. Right, so we can kind of talk about that because Earthquake is going to be relatively strong. Obviously, it gives you an additional coverage. It can potentially give you a middle ground play versus Victini and Tapu Koko, just being able to click Earthquake covers for both. And obviously, Earthquake hits basically a lot of shit for neutral, and Nihilego doesn't matter. Nihilego always dies to any Mega Glade move, so that doesn't matter. But we're going to start off with Zen Headbutt first. Now, we might change to Earthquake because it's going to depend on how the team kind of functions here. So, and then next we're going to click Close Combat. Once again, we can potentially put Drain Punch here, but we're going to start off with Close Combat to absolutely ensure, like for example, if it's Hydreigon, I always want to be able to get one shots, regardless of EV spreads or anything like that. Okay, so we're gonna run Zen Headbutt Close Combat, and so once again, we don't have any HP or attack EVs, and so now we have to think of like how are we gonna play this for these other two moves. So for right now on the team builder, we'll slap on Earthquake and bulk up, and then we're going to look at like what this actually gives us. If so if we were to run this type of coverage, what's going to be able to deal with this? Is going to be Zazo.
This is hard walled by Zato, yeah.
Okay, so Zatu can deal with this. Victini, we got to figure out how much Victini takes from Earthquake, and then Rotom. So for example, we can run something like, so now that we're saying, okay, Zatu walls us, and then we could have higher damage output things, because Victini, like Earthquake and Knockoff, is basically the same damage. So now it's like, okay, what if I were to have on this set, or to change Earthquake and to Knockoff? So our coverage is Zen Headbutt, Close Combat, Knockoff, Bulk Up, right? That's generally pretty much very standard on Mega Glade coverage wise, but then now we got to look into things like Resist Berries. Can my opponent bring Resist Berries? Okay, are we worried about something like Cobra Berry on Victini? Maybe. Probably not though, because there's so many different ways we can punish a Cobra Berry Victini. Cobra Berry Zatu, that is something that's a little bit annoying because it could potentially status Mega Glade with Thunder Wave, and then Rotom also can run Cobra Berry. Okay, so we could either have additional coverage moves. For example, we can run a Zen Head, or we could still Zen Headbutt Rotom, even though like it's still going to be doing way too much. And then Zatu, we could also run additional coverage moves, something like Ice Punch, Triple Axle, and then also, instead of Bulk Up, we also have to play around. Do we want to also bring something like a Leaf Blade or something like that if our team is bothered by Swampert, okay? And then just for shits and giggles, we're gonna run max attack, and then like what, ADVs in HP. So this is our like base form Mega Glade, but we're probably gonna change this Mega Glade up as we go. But it's just to have something on the team. Okay. So now we're gonna be building around Mega Glade. Usually when I team build, I have a Pokemon and I'm building it around there, and how do I pick what Pokemon I'm building around? It's usually going to be the most forcing Pokemon. Mega Glade obviously is a very forcing Pokemon in this matchup due to its speed tiers and its ability to get 2 KOs on everything. As pretty straightforward there.
Couldn't we also argue Greninja is pretty forcing as well?
Yep, Greninja, like we said, no real water resist bar Hydreigon. So that's something we could add on going next. But does anybody have any questions yet about the team so far?
You said that you're gonna maybe look at that later, but I was wondering when are you ever going to click Bulk Up? What can you set up on?
Yeah, okay, so now, all right. So we're gonna go into the example that Glop used is kind of a multifaceted move. What I mean by, and those are very powerful. What I mean by that, there's gonna be scenarios where Bulk Up can come into play. So for example, if Kartana isn't scarfed, you Bulk Up versus Kartana, and especially if Kartana is if it's not Choice Scarf. And then if we are a Drain Punch variant, things like Bulk Up are a very easy middle ground move. So for example, if we were to have an extremely bulky Mega Glade with Drain Punch, and Drain Punch doesn't always get the one shot on Kartana, we could Bulk Up and then Drain Punch, and it doesn't matter. Oh, let's say he goes Victini on the Bulk Up. Okay, we account for that. Bulk Up is one of those moves. Oh, he goes Mega Heracross on the sack. Okay, so Bulk Up is usually a really strong middle ground move. The other thing, the reason why it's also strong, is if Victini is non-Choice Scarf and clicks V-Create and we don't kill him with Knockoff or Earthquake, we can Bulk Up first and then we can Earthquake or Knockoff, and we can live the V-Create because we got a defense boost, and then we get the attack boost too, so now we can get the damage output. So that's kind of what we mean, where it's a middle ground move where it's like, okay, I don't know if he's going to go Rotom here. I don't know if he's going to stay in. Bulk Up's a pretty good middle ground move. And then it also accounts for if the physical Pokemon wants to stay in on an attack and aggressively, we could then punish it because we could live any one hit and then Drain Punch or go for whatever next turn.
the other part of it too is even just like having bulk up doesn't necessarily mean you ever have to click it. There might be positions in the game where you don't need to even go for it. You can just afford to click attacks, but it's just an option. Like he was saying, it's multifaceted, right? That kind of ties back into what he was talking about at the very start of the video, where we want to cover for multiple options, right? So by having bulk up on the set, that is covering for situations where it's not Choice Scarf or Katana. It's covering for situations where it's Boots Victini and we were able to bulk up in front of its face and take the V create. It's covering for situations where the Hydreigon is not scarfed and we bulk up on the, or it is scarfed, but we bulk up on the Swampert sack or some other Pokemon sack, and now it can't kill us, or now the Scarf Katana can't kill us because we got that bulk up. So it's covering for different options and sets that your opponent can run just in one move slot.
Yep.
All right, yeah, fair.
Okay, so the next Pokemon I actually want to put on here, because once again, we can kind of go into Greninja, but we're actually going to put Ferrothorn in the next slot. Okay, where I get Ferrothorn, because if the concept is we're team building around Mega Gallade, I want to ensure that we're going to have Tapu Koko checks. The best Tapu Koko check we have is going to be Ferrothorn. And I already thought of a pretty cool item here on Ferrothorn, and I'll kind of tell you why I like this item. It's going to be a jack button. Okay, what is a jack button? Essentially, if Ferrothorn is hit with any move, you then get momentum. Okay, the way that this game is usually going to be played out, obviously I haven't played this game, but kind of visualizing, thinking about how this game is going to go, Tapu Koko is probably going to click U-turn versus Ferrothorn. How can I punish that the most? Okay, I could have Rocky Helmet. Okay, I could just not care and just be like leftovers or anything like that. It could be Akka, it could be Chopple, whatever. But a jack button means that I can one time soft check Tapu Koko, get momentum into one of our Tapu Koko abuser, whether it be Landorus, so on and so forth. And because the other thing with Ferrothorn is that, one, I kind of analyzed that hazards aren't amazing here. Hazards are never not good, but he has the Zazo, and every single time if I'm clicking Stealth Rock or Spike with Ferrothorn, that's then giving him the opportunity to go Victini. I'm not going to be able to win the game if I'm using a turn, clicking a Leech Seed, Stealth Rocks, or whatever, and then he's also then goes Victini, and then he gets a kill every single time he goes Victini. So I don't want to be in with, even though Ferrothorn can wall half his team, I don't want to be in with Ferrothorn because he has a lot of defensive hard counters. Like Heracross can take like 5 hits from Ferrothorn, so on and so forth, right? And especially because the main moves that Ferrothorn wants to click here is like knockoff and body press, and it's just Heracross is just gonna abuse it. And even though I do have a Landorus doesn't have any recovery, and I can't long-term defensively check Mega Heracross, especially if it's bulk up or sword stance, and then it just out-muscles with bullet seeds with my Landorus. So, yeah.
So the goal of eject button here is essentially to take a position where they have the advantage, they're getting momentum, and we flip that into our favor to then generate our own source of momentum. Yes. Or offense.
Now, yes, because one, we've identified that clicking water move is unguardable, and the other thing too is the way that I like to win games, especially how I can see how this game is going to be played. If we can essentially get the first kill, where if we get the first kill, we're up 6-5. All I then have to do for the rest of the game is trade, and so if we continuously trade, I will win 1-0. So what that means, I'm up 6-5. He gets a kill, I get a kill, he gets a kill, I get a kill, he gets a kill, I get a kill, I will win 1-0. The reason why that comes into play is if I'm a eject button, I'm going to have it buys me an additional turn with at the cost of like 20, like less than 20% on Ferrothorn, and using an item once. And Ferrothorn is usually a Pokemon that doesn't need necessarily this item in order to win the exchanges versus like Nihilego and so on and so forth. I don't need an item on Ferrothorn to beat Koko and Nihilego. Now, in regards to the moves on Ferrothorn, once again, I need to have moves that can punish Koko and Nihilego. So I probably want to run. I don't know. We'll just slap some shit. We could run Gyro Ball,
Knockoff.
Knockoff. We could run. So it's like, okay, does Power Whip come into play? Very, very niche, but it could come into play versus Swampert. That's something to keep in mind. Body Press has some utility. Like we said, Hazards could come into play. And so it's like, now, what is his response going to be versus Ferrothorn? That's why, you know, so once again, he could have the all counter in Xatu if that does come, but then also he has just so many different options between Heracross, Victini, so on and so forth. So we need to punish those mons as much as possible. So for right now, I guess we can just like slap on just like different moves, and it doesn't really matter because once again we'll come to it and our moves. So for right now, just for shits and giggles, we're just gonna put Gyro Ball, Knockoff, Body Press, Power Whip, and we're gonna run max HP, max special defense, because the Pokemon that this is gonna be dealing with is all special attackers. Even though, like, yes, we can run a little bit of Fizz Def maybe, so we can take a Sacred Sword from Kartana. We can run a little Fizz Def. We could take Earthquakes from Swampert. The way that Ferrothorn is going to be used this matchup, it's actually not meant for any of those purposes. So therefore, we don't need to run any physical defense, even though we could run physical defense for those niche situations. Those are not the situations that I plan on using Ferrothorn for, so I'm going to run exclusively max. So for right now, just literally just run max HP, max defense, minus speed nature for Gyro Ball.
Oh, you said max defense? You mean max SPDF?
Yeah, max special defense.
You said Knockoff, Gyro Ball, Power, Body Press, and what?
Power Whip.
Yeah.
Power Whip. Got it.
Yeah, just, you know, just for shits and
Just
giggles.
for
We're
now.
gonna go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna get back to it. Okay, next. We'll slap. Okay, so now we'll do Greninja. Obviously, we're forcing a Torrent, and then and then with Ferrothorn ability, obviously we're gonna run Iron Barbs just because it's anticipation. I don't necessarily see will come into play at all. It doesn't give me any value.
You can see if it's Flamethrower Hydreigon. That'd be very useful.
We're gonna have a Tapu Fini for that too. So, but anyway, we're gonna be fine with that. So, and obviously, we're gonna put Tapu Fini on this team, 100%, because it's just really good here. So, okay, Greninja. So Greninja, as we noticed, really good here. The only thing dealing with water moves is Hydreigon. So for right now, let's run Choice Specs Greninja. Let's run Surf. Obviously, Ice Beam in order to hit the Hydreigon. Water Shuriken. And Dark Pulse for the immediate one-shot versus Kartana. But I do want to do a damage calc. Let's see, Greninja.
Choice Spec Surf probably OHKOs it. Just off the rip.
I don't know about that.
It's Kartana.
So
yeah, but
Pretty close.
for this
Ice Beam OHKOs it.
For this last move on Greninja, we can run a couple different things, whether that be we can run Dark Pulse.
Hydro
Once
Pump.
again, Dark Pulse will specifically come into play if he's if we don't, because versus the Rotom and versus the Natu, we can ensure a one-shot that can come into play, because once again they could be Thunder Wave users and they also could be Cobra. But so maybe Dark Pulse isn't the best, but Hydro Pump. So usually I love running two of the same moves on a Pokemon. So for example, if we're in a situation where we need immediate damage output versus something like a Swampert, so we don't take damage that turn, maybe Hydro Pump is the correct play. We don't really need Hydro Pump versus Nihilego or anything like that, but Hydro Pump, maybe Hydreigon is at 60% and Surf doesn't do a KO from that range, but maybe Hydro Pump does. So that's something. We'll put Hydro Pump on there for right now. Okay, speed tier. Once again, we don't need to get fancy here. We're just gonna have the same speed tier as Mega Glade.
I would think that wouldn't being faster than Modest Coco be valuable, perhaps, considering the extra bulk on Greninja very rarely is impactful.
Yeah, 1 second. So that hits
360.
360.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then also, yeah, so the things we're considering right now, does Modest Greninja have a place? Okay, Modest Greninja could be punished by non-choice scarf.
Cortana actually outspeeds it if it's just Jolly Max.
Yeah, so okay, so Greninja, if Modest, it hits 343. So the things that the only situation would be if let's see, Nihilego. Let's see what Nihilego hits. Nihilego hits.
54.
Yeah,
335. So we could outspeed with Modest.
Yeah, so our speed tiers that we could hit are art, because once again you made a good point. The bulk probably won't come into play. Might if you know, if we get super sweaty, might come into play. But so the different speed tiers, I actually do want to just run with Modest, but the two different speed tiers that we could run is either Timid to outspeed Modest Coco, so that we have, you know, security versus that, or we can run Modest to be a lot more forcing in a little bit more in these situations. But
and the idea with Modest would be then to be faster than the Timid Nihilego, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
And then now we're going to make sure that we don't care about Cortana, aka so Talonflame's value is going to be more important now.
So Modest Shuriken from Gren to no bulk Cortana, 3 hits does 47 minimum.
Yeah.
47 to 55.
Yeah. And then we have a couple different things. So now going because once again, the reason why, because if Cortana was a different Pokemon, we usually wouldn't have to be so like reckless around it. I usually don't like to be aggressive for the sake of being aggressive, but let's look at what Modest Greninja gives us. Okay, if there's ever a situation, if it's like turn 4 and it's Cortana versus Greninja, do we ever want to take a risk at that point in time if Cortana is choice scarf or not? Okay, so one, even if Greninja, we do speed creep the Cortana, there is a chance that it still doesn't give us any value.
Because it could be Scarf.
Because it could be Scarf.
Exactly.
And then two, and the second thing too, is affordability. If we have full-on counters, like for example Talonflame and stuff like that, going back to the Tapu Koko and stuff like that, if we can defensively counter something, we kind of then therefore don't really care too much about like, oh, does it get the outspeeds, because we just flat out counter or whatever. And but then we got to keep in mind too, how long can we do that for? So Talonflame short term can do that, but long term, can it do it? The conditions where it can't is if Cortana clicks a knockoff and then Stealth Rocks get up, and now Talonflame has to then take Stealth Rock damage off. And then the other thing too, you got to see what move you're most weakest to. So with Greninja, Ferrothorn, and Glade, if you're facing a choice scarfed Cortana, it looks like Sacred Sword is right now the best click to click versus us, as long as you weaken Mega Glade.
And I've also knocked off the Talonflame and have Rocks up.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yep. So now we're gonna get into the next mon that we're gonna add.
So are you keeping Greninja as Modest?
Yep, we're just gonna keep that Modest.
I was gonna say, anything to know too is the calc for Ice Beam. If it's no bulk Hydreigon, Ice Beam has a 50% chance to OHKO it from full with no rocks.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
does that mean then make rocks potentially viable?
It does. The only problem is if Zazo is probably like 100% coming here, and the only way you could get around it would be with Worry Seed, Ferrothorn, and then you could go for rocks, which can be valuable considering that their defog options are basically Hydreigon, which if it's offensive, then that opens up a door for Arfini a lot more. But it really just depends if you find that valuable enough. And in this matchup, it could be valuable. But if you're letting your Ferrothorn get heat waved, then you're going to be a little bit weaker into the Nihilego and Tapu Koko. So I think what Zazo's kind of getting at is that you're better off trying to win through the offensive pressure of like the Greninja and Gallade, for example, rather than the pressure that Rocks puts on in combination with those mons.
And going back to kind of how this game goes, if Ferrothorn clicks Stealth Rocks, yeah, okay, so there's a lot of things going on here. So first, just because you want something to happen, it doesn't mean that it's going to happen. For example, I would if I had the opportunity to keep up Stealth Rocks all game, I can definitely see a lot of value with it, right? Stealth Rocks are fucking beyond broken. But just because I want to do that doesn't mean that I can do that, okay? So there's Zatu and then there's Defog. Then also on top of that stuff, there's also every single time Ferrothorn comes in, is it worth then, is those Stealth Rocks worth then me sacking something? Because once again, if I click Stealth Rocks with Ferrothorn and he comes in with Heracross and or Victini, am I willing to, so on top of, could he have Defog Hydreigon? Could he have Magic Bounce Zatu? But then also him getting in those offensive Pokemon too. Is all that worth it just to get that chip damage on Hydreigon? Maybe, maybe not. So it just comes back to what we do here.
Fair enough.
So, okay, Talonflame. Okay, we're gonna run with this moves. Keep it very simple here. So, in Nihilego matchups, you can run like a niche coverage move like Steel Wing, but we're not gonna worry about anything. You know, we're not gonna be worried. So, for example, how do we know what to run on Talonflame here? The use of Talonflame here, it's not to Swords Dance and sweep. It's used to be a secondary fire resist versus Victini. It has the speed control versus everything except for the Tapu Koko, unless it's modest, and has a flame body. It's a secondary switch in to Heracross, and it's not necessarily meant to like do like crazy damage output or something like that. So I don't care about Swords Dance or Bulk Up or anything like that. U-turn is going to have a lot more utility, because you also have to visualize what mons do you want to be clicking offensive moves with. We've already mentioned the moves that we want to click offensively is going to be Mega Glade hits, Tapu Fini hits, and Greninja hits. Why? Because very unguardable. Talonflame hits are extremely guardable here because, okay, he's got the Tapu Koko that can outspeed, threaten us with a one-shot. He's got Swampert that probably avoids a 3-hit kill from Brave Bird, even if we were to run a lot of attack investment. He has Victini that can live any one hit and can threaten us with a one-shot with a Bolt Strike, and Brave Bird's probably only going to do like 40, if that, so on and so forth. So, yep, so for right now, we'll just keep it simple. We're gonna run, I don't know, just something simple.
Do you think speed for modest Coco?
And then okay, so now in that conversation, okay, that is a situation that could come into play, but if Tapu Koko is slower than Talonflame, odds are it is gonna have a lot of bulk. And just because Talonflame is going to be able to get an outspeed versus Tapu Koko, it doesn't mean it's still going to win the exchange. Because I mean, yeah, maybe, once again, it might be able to get a fast U-turn, but like Flare Blitz, unless Tapu Koko had taken a big hit like a Zen Headbutt or something like that, odds are Flare Blitz isn't really going to ever come to. Even if I do get the outspeed, it's only going to do like 40%, and then he's going to kill my Talonflame, and now I don't have a good Kartana pivot.
So then, do you think speed for max speed Cortana then?
Yep.
So
yep,
I was gonna say what I have on the builder is 120 Jolly, which puts you at 349, and then I have max defense and then 136 HP.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's fine.
You think boots?
Yeah.
Does Talonflame have another item?
He can run Iapapa Berry.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
No. So we can talk about a couple of different things. Okay, so Flare Blitz.
U-turn roost.
Because Kartana, it doesn't have that good of damage output. Like it doesn't have. It's not like Kartana has Rock Slide or anything like that, or Thunder Punch or something like that, right? So because of that, if Kartana did have those things, maybe we do run Defog and Tapu Fini, and maybe we do run like Resist Berry, Talonflame, or something like that, because we don't want to use like Choice Band or Sharp Break or something like that, because yeah, once again, Talonflame is meant for Kartana. We could always threaten the one shot with any fire move because it's 4 times weak. So long story short, yes, it's just heavy duty boots is very justified, because I don't want to waste turns in a move slot clicking Defog, where Yeah, it's just a very, very consistent item on Talonflame.
So I have Roost, U-turn, Flare Blitz, Taunt. I don't know if that's along the lines you were thinking, but that's what
Let's
I
see,
have.
Flare Blitz.
Do we want recoil? Will that come into play at all?
Potentially. All right, so
You could do
let's see.
Just flamethrower.
good old fire
Yeah,
spin for some chip.
we could. Yeah. So let's see. We're actually gonna spend two seconds thinking here. Okay, so once again, we can run taunt. We can run. Okay, so because we have the Misty Train with Tapu Fini, we do control the Misty Train, but I don't really like Toxic too much on Talonflame because why would Toxic even be mentioned? We can Toxic things like Swampert, so on and so forth, but that's also something that I don't really like because he has a lot of counterplay. Maybe he goes Nihilego on a Toxic, maybe he goes Zatu on a Toxic, and then even if I do Toxic the Swampert, I usually gain more value clicking U-turn on Swampert than Toxic, because our Pokemon hit really strong, and so we don't really want to waste a turn. So just for shits and giggles, we're gonna run Flare Blitz, U-turn, I don't know, Brave
Roost and Taunt.
Okay, Taunt. Okay, my mans keep saying Taunt.
I just think the value of Taunt personally in this matchup would be first and foremost preventing like a Roost from Hydreigon or preventing Rocks from Swampert, which could.
Would you want to be staying in on Swampert though and taking the?
If you're packing, you should be taunting it.
So,
well, it's the idea. Let's say you go into because what the exchange that'll probably happen is you go into Coco or you go into Talonflame on Cortana, you get knocked, you click Roost as they go into Swampert, and then I would think it's valuable for you to click Taunt, only because at that point, if rocks go up as your boots are gone, then you're going to be dying next time Cortana comes in, and on top of that too, even if they do, let's say for example, stay in and go for flip turn, it's only going to do like, I don't know, maybe like 35, 40 or something, but you have a chance to burn the Swampert as well, and if the Swampert's burned, that's free bulk up fodder for Gallade, that's freer switch-ins for Greninja, like Zazo was saying, unguardable, so that's my thought on Taunt.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, and I think the only moves that really matter right now is Flare Blitz, U-turn,
and Roost.
Those are the three matter. Now, can we run Taunt or something like that? Once again, we'll get back to that. That's why I keep saying we'll get back to it, because we'll see. So next we're gonna add Tapu Fini, because we've identified that water move is unguardable. We identified that this is a flat out counter to Hydreigon, and it also gives us a way to get rid of Electric Terrain. Threatens Heracross with the outspeed Moonblast, even though it won't be able to one-shot unless he is in range of Moonblast.
You're thinking Scarf on this joint, aren't you?
Probably. I was thinking about a couple different things. So this is a very, very important learning concept here, because this is a really weird one. A lot of instances, because I'm gonna say some really weird stuff and then it'll make sense in 2 seconds. In a lot of instances, Latias is usually more bulky than Reuniclus. Okay, how the fuck does that even come? What does that even mean? So generally when Reuniclus, it runs EVs, it runs max HP, like max defense or something like that. And Latias, it usually runs max HP, max speed, something along those lines. When you have when you're trying to face something defensively, but you get the outspeed, that means you take one less hit, and that's very important. So if we are Choice Scarf on Tapu Fini, defensively we become better. So for example, going back to that instance versus Victini, if we run a defensive Tapu Fini, once again we still get threatened to get 2-shot if Electric Train's up. Or we can EV Tapu Fini, it lives any one hit, we get the outspeed, and then we threaten it with a 1-shot with Hydro Pump or Surf or something like that. So and same thing, if Hydreigon is something goofy, it doesn't matter, we take any one hit and then we threaten it. Where the other thing too with Tapu Fini, because it doesn't have Roost or anything like that, Leftovers, Protect isn't granting us enough turns, in my opinion, where So that's one form of like recovery. I don't think it's really worth it there. And yeah, so anyways, yeah, long story short, I do like Choice Scarf Tapu Fini because it just gives us a safety blanket versus the Tapu Koko. It gives us the safety blanket versus if we defensively switch in to one of his Pokemon and then we threaten the outspeed, once again, aka Nihilego even, we can, instead of taking Sludge Waves, we get the outspeed. And so yeah, let's run on this. So once again, we'll run Surf, Moonblast, and so this is where it gets fun. One idea I was thinking about for a second was Waterfall, which sounds really stupid, but now we're getting into, so when you run Tapu Fini being an offensive Pokemon, is like, what moves are we going to be clicking, right? So the water moves. So obviously we're going to run Hydro. Yeah, we're probably going to do the same thing with Greninja, run Surf, Hydro Pump, because they are just so unguardable. Moonblast hitting the Hydreigon, the only water resistant, because Moonblast is really good. So now it's like, for this last slot, what do we run?
You're saying Waterfall is the third?
No, so once again, Tapu Fini is going to run Surf,
Moonblast,
Hydro Pump.
Yeah.
And now we're deciding its last move.
So I would think, I mean, me looking at the matchup, I would think, I mean, one of either Trick, Knockoff, or I guess potentially Grass Knot if we care about the what's it called? The Swampert?
Swampert, yeah.
Right. I think Knockoff would hit what? Because what would his main switch into it be? It would be like, it doesn't really have one.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem that you just said. Okay, with Tapu Fini, this is very, very important. If Tapu Fini usually in Smogon OU, it does run those other utility things. Maybe Scarf Defog, if it gets knocked off, maybe Scarf this, maybe Scarf that. With Tapu Fini, every single turn I'm in with it, I don't want to waste a turn clicking Defog, Knockoff, Trick, something like that. Because it has the ability to KO everything, I don't want to waste turns clicking these other moves. I only exclusively want to click the attacking moves. So with this last move, it's essentially, how do we cover versus the most? So basically, in a situation that you're not clicking Surf, Hydro Pump, or Moonblast, what would you then click? So one of them is, okay, maybe Waterfall for the Nihil. We're not running Waterfall. I'm just saying that's just an example.
Brian.
That is a very niche. That's a niche scenario that could come into play. Like you said, Grass Knot. That is those are two instances. Maybe I don't click that particular move. Obviously, the reason why I keep saying Waterfall is because Nihilego's special defense is like fucking a million, and Waterfall actually does more. Fucking goofy as that sounds.
Brian?
But
I'm always a big fan of Nature's Madness, just free 50% on anything.
Yep, that's a possibility. But once again, it's like, what would Nature's Madness hit that Moonblast and Surf doesn't already hit? So
a bit of a bulkier Swampert, but it.
And now we can kind of go then saying like, okay, we could also then hit it for like a Grass Knot, something like that. The good thing with Nature's Madness, it's a safe middle ground move. I don't have to. I don't care if he predicts this and this and that. So that could come into play. So
I'm still on the Brine train, bro.
Yep. So okay. So our options. Brine actually never works.
What do you mean?
Because
well, think about it. It's actually a stronger hit. Like, say the Swampert's been out below half, you just melt it. Or say you brine it as it switches in, and then that puts it beneath half, and then now you're doing double the damage, and now get shit on.
Yeah, but if you go on clicking Surf or clicking Moonblast twice is usually going to give me more out of the situation than clicking Brine twice.
Yeah, I feel that. I know it's a niche. It's just more of a niche option that it, like, for example, it could late game could potentially, do the dirty on them.
Yes. So one of them. Okay. So the things I'm looking at is Ice Beam. I'll tell you. I'll get why Ice Beam. Okay, Ice Beam, and because this last move is just like extra. Yeah. So it's either Ice Beam or Grass Knot. Okay. So the idea of Ice Beam is obviously for Kartana. So if there's a situation where Kartana is not Choice Scarfed and we need the absolute most damage output, for example, if Kartana, like, okay, let's just say Ferrothorn already did its roll. Ferrothorn then is sacked for Iron Barb's damage, and now Tapu Fini comes in versus the non-choice scarf Kartana. And that extra Ice Beam damage might come into play. So I'm actually going to use the damage calculator for a second. And if we don't want to risk clicking Hydro Pump, for example. Okay, so Ice Beam.
So just as a, because I don't know what calc you're running, but I'm just going to quickly relay to you what I have. So
yeah, we'll do Modest, by the way. Modest.
Yep, that's what I have. So first and foremost, I guess 2 things to clarify. I have speed here to outspeed Max Coco. Is that?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, and then I have the rest into HP because I actually calced it. So I have 112 Modest because 168 HP Fini lives a Jolly Electric Train boosted Bolt Strike from Victini from full.
Yeah, that works.
So I have 112 Modest and then 168 and then 228 speed.
Yeah, so
I'm looking at the calcs for Kartana. It looks like it does about 18% more to it. So like Ice Beam Modest 112 does 70 to 83 to Kartana.
yeah, so that after Iron Barb's damage, that does, and then Grass Knot.
It actually does kill. It actually does kill after 2 Iron Barbs because if it takes 2 Iron Barbs, that's 34% of its health. So it would be beneath 70.
Yeah, so and then the other situation is Grass Knot. So Grass Knot, that does 60 to 70% if Swampert is absolute max defense or max special defense. Yeah, so it's just like, do we want just for right now, we'll do, what sounds spicier to you, Grass Knot or Ice Beam?
I think that
because we'll probably get back to it, but yeah.
I feel like Ice Beam has a lot more value simply because, you know, Talonflame, it's not going to be here long term, and having any and all possible tools to deal with the Kartana is just super valuable, I think. Because I think it's arguably like the biggest offensive threat outside of the Victini.
Yeah, potentially. Because I was actually okay, what, 94. So the Tapu Fini hits what, 264?
So I have 263 because 263
Yeah,
times 1.5, I believe. Oh, actually, I might be wrong on that. It might need to be. It might have to be. I need actually a little bit more, so I need one more. So I'm Modest 108, and then 264 is for Max Coco. So I have 232 speed, 108 Modest, and then 168 HP.
Okay, and then now our last mon. So every single time when you're adding a last mon, what you're doing is when you look at your first 5 Pokemon, you're now analyzing what is this team weak to. So going back to, all right, so then looking at his team, Tapu Koko, we have a defensive answer, an offensive answer, Kartana, defensive answer, and then offensive answer in Mega Glade, so on and so forth. So you do that. In my opinion, the most obvious add here is going to be Landorus because it gives us a lot of utility for a lot of different things. So for example, 1, Landorus is a broken Pokemon, but 2, it gives us the Intimidate. It gives us the Intimidate versus potential physical Victini. It's a mon that potentially can live it can live any 1 hit from Nihilego, live any 1 hit, any 2 hits from Kartana, Coco, and damage output. So the coverage wise, all right, so the first item I was actually thinking about on this variation, the way that I actually want to use Landorus here is a defensive response to mainly the Heracross, but then also just a defensive pivot potentially in Victini and stuff like that. I don't want, so even though I can run Swords Dance, Landorus, or something like that, Choice Scarf, I actually don't want to use it for that. I want to be able to switch it into something to then click an attacking move. So the coverage I actually like most on Landorus is actually not Earthquake, but Earth Power.
And Psychic?
Psychic.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Actually, I'd put Psychic on the builder.
Knockoff and U-Turn.
Yeah.
So
what's the item you have?
An Assault Vest. So the two items that I was looking at most is Citrus Berry and an assault vest, because in my opinion with leftovers, the problem with that is, one, you reveal your item, and two, I don't think I'm gonna stay in with Landorus enough turns where I'm gonna get more leftovers recovery more than citrus. But anyways, yeah, I'm pretty sold on on assault vest. The idea for assault vest is just so I can take any special Victini glaciate or anything like that.
Do you feel like there's any value at all in Rocky Helmet? Because I was kind of contemplating that for the sole reason of chipping down Heracross can help put it, like if you just get 1 or 2 rounds of it, that can help put it in range of like the specs Greninja.
If he clicks, so once again, that's a little bit hyper specific in the sense of it's not super multifaceted, because Rocky Helmet only activates when he clicks close combat, and odds are if we have a Talonflame and well, so once again, it's like, that's why it's important to like analyze like what coverage is he probably gonna run.
Sure.
I would expect things like Bullet Seed to come, because we have the Tapu Fini. It's the highest base power move that it would have versus Landorus, and because Intimidate, you can get more crits.
Right.
Whereas Knockoff, the problem with Knockoff is you rather Knockoff with Kartana versus
versus the team.
It just gives you more damage output. So basically, you're potentially limiting your damage output with knockoff. Well, I'm not saying he can't be knockoff Heracross, but what I'm trying to say is that Helmet on Landorus for the Heracross. I mean, first off, Assault Vest doesn't help with that either, but at least with Assault Vest, it can help versus the
Victini
Landorus. Nihilego.
True.
Maybe. But like, so for example, Hydreigon, it could come into play, but I don't really want it to come into play because I have a Fallen Counter in Tapu Fini. Mm-hmm. So I don't really want Landorus to take a Draco or Dark Pulse when I have a Fallen Counter in the back.
Right.
So the idea of Earth Power over Earthquake is because this is going to be my secondary check to Kartana. So Landorus, it needs to run enough special attack to always one-shot Kartana.
I also have 8 speed on it, because that way, even if they're max speed Victini, when they're at -1 speed from V-Create, you outspeed 100%.
Yeah, that's cool. So, yeah, I do like that. As in, yeah, I mean... I
know. It's just like, you're like, yeah, that's cool, Glop, yeah. You probably don't need a lot to KO. I think Earth Power just KOs raw, dude.
So...
Hold on.
No, it needs special attack.
I'm looking at the wrong guy.
And we're gonna run a so we're gonna run a minus attack nature, because I don't want to run a minus anything else. So we're gonna run minus attack nature. We're gonna run enough so Landorus.
So 76 with 76 special attack looks like it gets the KO on Kartana.
Yeah, so then now it's probably we're probably gonna run even a little bit more special attack, because
potential
you gotta
creeps.
Scout like how much bulk is Kartana gonna run.
Right.
If Kartana, the most estimated bulk that he's gonna run is it'd probably run enough. So Kartana, the least it can be, basically, long story short, enough speed to outspeed max speed.
Uxie?
Well, okay, max speed Landorus. I'd probably assume max speed Landorus.
Well, yeah. I guess the only thing I'm thinking about is Adamant Gallade. But then at that point, they're running Adamant. Yeah. They still have to be basically max speed. They actually can't even outrun Adamant. If they're Adamant, they can't outrun Adamant. So I guess the most bulk I'm thinking they would do is they would go Jolly Cart to outspeed Adamant max Gallade, because isn't that actually more than max speed Lando?
Yeah. Max speed Lando hits.
It's 309.
So anyways, long story short, we're trying to figure out the most bulk for Kartana.
Right. So I'm thinking Adamant max speed Gallade, which is 319. So they would go Jolly.
Yeah.
They would go Jolly with 320. Which means that they would have 104 HP?
Yeah, or 108 or whatever. Okay, so 108. So now we're gonna go back to the damage calc. We're gonna do Kartana. Just shits and giggles. We'll do 108.
108, yeah.
We'll do 108.
And it is really important to think about a little micro. things like these, because they do come into play sometimes.
So Earth Power, what do you...
188 is what you need.
That's a lot of investment. Can we run like a soft sand or something like that?
Or like maybe a plus special attack.
Yeah, potentially. No, we don't need that one.
Oh yeah, if it's... Oh, hold on, we don't need that much. We need 176. Would KO 108 HP Kartana.
Or
do modest, because it optimizes EVs, right? Because you could do modest with 72, and then that way you have a ton of shit left over for your HP
so
and
now
defenses.
let's go back to Victini. Let's see. You said Tana. Yeah, so how much special attack you said?
I said if you do modest, you only need 72.
So that's one option.
Because that, I mean, it optimizes EVs just because it's the plus nature on the higher stat. So we have, if you do 8 speed and 72 special attack, you have 428 EVs to play around with, which I think can be tailored to, like you were saying, you know, the Victini and stuff like that. What kind of a Victini are you trying to account for? Like a naive or hasty? Or
Okay. Doesn't matter right now. So we're now gonna go to Landorus now for like the bulk, because we'll get back to the special attack. It's not that big of a deal. So now Victini, we need Landorus to, so Landorus intimidate, and if he gets up stealth rock, we need to live a V create. So it looks like
you actually don't have, I mean, yeah, the V create is important, but if you're running the 8 speed, like I was saying, then you outspeed even max speed at plus,
so 240, 32. So
Well, what if it's Scarf then?
oh, you can run I'm sorry, you only need 4 speed. Because at -1, it's at 328. It's at 218, sorry.
a Scarf V create.
Scarf isn't too big of a deal because you can easily live 2 of those with some investment.
Actually needs a
Yeah, I think that's the minimum investment we need.
needs a good chunk of his stuff.
Well, yeah.
Or
Well,
two.
don't you think HP is the most important to invest in first?
Yeah, we're running max HP.
So
for sure.
are you doing 248?
Yeah, 248.
Yep. And then with Intimidate, if you're looking at Jolly, V Create, you want to live 2 after rocks, right? Or just be able to avoid a 2-8 KO.
Yeah, probably no rocks for now, cause yeah, and we're doing it from Adamant Victini, cause
Oh, okay.
Scarf.
Bet. Okay. You're saying no rocks, right?
Yeah, no rocks. So it looks like 248, 184 defense.
184.
Take some
Yep.
special attack.
That's actually all the rest that we have. That actually. So
That's convenient.
So it's 72. So it's 248 HP, 184 defense, 72 modest, 4 speed. That's hot. I love you spreads like this.
Okay, now I'm probably gonna adjust the team just a little bit more. Okay, yeah. So now let's do. Okay, we got a half hour left. So now we're gonna go back and look at our team. So this is just like the base version of the team.
Yep. And if you want to
Now
confirm
we're
it, Zazo, you can look in the. I'm streaming it in the DGBA.
Yeah, I can't do that right now, but
I got you.
So we'll take a quick pause. If anybody has any questions on what did Gohan send? ILF detector, whatever the fuck that is. So does anybody have any questions or any comments about the team so far? Any like, oh, you know, I think we should run these different moves on Mega Lead. I think we should do this different or that different, or where are we weak to, or why is this team good? If anybody's got any comments.
The only thing I was thinking was maybe a different moveset and Gallade, perhaps, and also maybe some more bulk. Because I think realistically, like, there will be a handful of situations where we can go for bulk up, and if we have like bulk up Drain Punch, like we can realistically get like a mon or two. Like I feel like we can balance between bulk and HP, or I'm sorry, offense and HP, and have it so that it's like multifaceted, as you've said.
Somebody asked why you care about ball strike. These.
I realized that. Yeah, once again, right before the game, I'm probably gonna make a couple like 2-second micro tweaks. But yeah, for Finny specifically, it doesn't take bolt strikes under electric terrain because
yeah, it does.
Terrain takes.
Hold on, I calced it.
Oh,
I see.
Won't be
I see.
No,
When you switch in.
Yep.
Yeah,
I got you.
Terrain.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah. So, but anyways, yeah. So now we're gonna get a little spicy here. Okay. This is a concept I was thinking on the way. One of the moves that also works like bulk up, that actually works exactly like bulk up, but it's actually pretty fucking spicy, is Rain Dance Mega Glade. Let me explain.
What?
Ooh, hold on.
What? How does that even make sense?
Hold on.
Let me explain. So, why is this? Well, okay, first, pretty spicy just in general, but why is that even a move to ever click? And what does it give us? So, going back in the situation between the bulk up, one of the things that we can use bulk up for is if we're in front of a physical attacker, it doesn't matter what move he goes for, we live any one hit. Same shit goes for Rain Dance versus Victini. Mega Glade does not threaten Victini with a one shot, and we could potentially get one shot by V-Creator or whatever. So that being said, Rain Dance functions as a way to like only take half damage from V-Creator or whatever, and it also then gives us something or a potential late game win path for Tapu Fini or Greninja, because if the thing that's unguardable is water moves and Rain Dance boosts water move by 1.5 times boost, we can once again, if we're in a situation where, because once again, if you look at Mega Glade, we can keep it in versus Tapu Koko, or we can then, so basically versus if we go over the checklist with Mega Glade, what he's ever going to click every turn. Kartana, you always click close combat. Hydreigon, you always click close combat, always kills. So on and so forth. Nihilego, Zen Headbutt always kills. We could run Leaf Blade for Swampert, potentially. That's one thing we don't one-shot. Another thing we don't one-shot is Tapu Koko. But there's a couple mind games with Tapu Koko, because if he has Rotom plus Tapu Koko, that's going to be annoying, because if we click, because Tapu Koko, it can click U-turn a lot of these matchups. So just because we might have Earthquake with Mega Glade, it's not easy to click Earthquake versus Tapu Koko, especially if he U-turns or out of range of Dazzling Gleam. And then we can get nothing out of the turn if he goes Rotom, and Rotom lives any one hit. So yeah, so basically what I'm trying to say is, like, if Mega Glade can one-shot basically everything in front of it, that last slot is like a luxury move, and that luxury move gives us a cleaner win path for our win conditions, which we already mentioned, which are the clicking the water moves, like we said like a billion times with Greninja and Tapu Fini. So hopefully, so we got a comment saying from Burger, whenever you can answer, since you plan on not pivoting Pharaoh in for anything but Koko and Nihilego early, what's your plan for things like Pert in the early to mid game? Exactly. So that is a good question, because if we notice Landorus gets forced out, Talonflame gets forced out, Mega Glade does get forced out if we don't have Leaf Blade, and Mega Glade, because we could Zen Headbutt in close combat, but then we could potentially be taking unnecessary damage. If we do that, we could run. Let's see. We could run.
I would think that bulk up would, like, if you run a bulkier Gallade, then you can just bulk up right in the face of Swampert.
So specifically for Swampert though, I rather threaten I rather not take any damage at all than like to take then less damage, because if he is Choice Scarf on Victini, Choice Scarf on, so basically when I EV this, I'm gonna make sure my Mega Glade it lives any Scarf hit from his win conditions, and I don't want to take any unnecessary damage. So
what if
Leaf Blade.
What if you used Grass Knot on Lando?
It has 4-slot move syndrome. I could run it, and
do you absolutely need knock? I mean, I know knockoff helps versus like Rotom, but like, what else are you clicking that versus?
Zatu. But yeah. So once again, knockoff is it's not necessary at all. So we could definitely run Grass Knot as well to kind of like beat the Swampert. So
on Lando, you mean?
Yeah, on Lando, right? So that so Grass Knot, basically all three of our both our water types, and yeah, so basically right, we're going to run Grass Move on one of these guys, whether that be to heavily weaken Swampert or threaten the one shot. Yeah, so we could either run Grass Knot on Landorus, which we might over Knockoff, because knockoffs, whatever. Knockoff could come into play, and so now let's just say for the team, because we're not gonna have enough time for this now, time would pass and I would like do like more specific EVs for the rest of my Pokemon. Okay, Mega Glade, I think it's important to take away some of the attack investment on Mega Glade so it can live any one hit from yeah, nice, gets messed up by Kecleon. But yeah, so now I'm gonna make Mega Glade live Scarf hits from the Victini, and because I know it doesn't take that much investment to do so. Yeah, so no. Yeah, going back to Ferrothorn, we do see that it is very, very important to have like grass coverage on it. On Ferrothorn,
actually takes a good chunk of investment to live Adamant V-Create from Victini. But that's why, honestly, I was thinking maybe a bulkier Gallade could just be better because of that.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna run.
You need 216 HP if you would like to live that hit.
Yeah.
Adamant V-Create, I mean. So is that something you think is worthwhile?
Potentially. Because once again, we have 3.5 fire resistance in the back, kind of. Obviously Lando, and then we have and then 2 is like I'm like, because I do want to take a little bit of time to like do a couple EVs like off screen or whatever. It'll only take me like 2 seconds, but yeah, that is something. And then maybe like kind of mess around with some of the EVs here and there, like maybe Greninja make sure it lives. I don't know, maybe like do earthquakes or whatever from Swampert, if that's what I choose to be.
That's not possible.
Yeah, whatever.
Maybe Earth Powers.
Perhaps, yeah.
So
so for Gallade, I mean, I think that's the only thing. Like most of the other sets, I feel like most people are pretty much in agreement on. Do you think Grass Knot on Lando over Knockoff is better?
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah, I do too, kind of. And then I guess on Gallade, the only question then is the EV spread on that, and I guess the moves too. That's like, then anything beyond that, I feel like you'll just do little micro adjustments on. But so first and foremost, I guess to address it, for the people, do you think that the HP on it is worth it for the Victini specifically?
So for right now on the current team, because we're looking out for loose cons, the bulk on Mega Glade, so we know why the speed on Mega Glade is important because it outspeeds everything bar type Coco. And we might, so going on the EV spreads, now is the time where I might get a little bit aggressive on a little bit of speed creep, where I might take a little bit of the speed out on Mega Glade, because if I basically because once again, we don't know if he's going to be Choice Scarf Kartana or not. So if I run a little bit less speed on Mega Glade, it kind of won't. And I run like a lot more bulk on Mega Glade. It won't matter what item he is on the Kartana, and odds are he's not going to run absolute max. Like, because you got to think in a situation, if Kartana is a non-choice scarf, he's most likely not going to stay in anyways. And would he even speed? We run absolute max speed for that situation, and you have to. So you got to think of like, do these situations? Are you willing to risk Kartana being able to outspeed that situation? And that might be a situation where I'm okay if Kartana, like I'm okay. There might be a situation that I might see that I might run a little bit less speed on Mega Glade, banking on the fact that he's not running absolute max speed Kartana. And even if he is, I live any one hit and I Drain Punch or Close Combat.
I agree. I would think
because,
then your benchmark.
because then the extra EVs grants me more opportunities at winning exchanges versus any more variants of Victini, and where you also want to make sure, like, you don't, if my main offensive Pokemon that I want in most of the game is going to be Mega Glade, I need it to do a lot of damage output, so I have to run like a decent amount of attack on it. So yeah.
So I almost wonder if then, and it might seem weird, maybe it's not correct, but like, do you think just creeping for Victini then?
No, I'll probably
because the 216, well, the 216 allows you to take a Scarf Victini, but if it's banded and you're not faster than it, then that bulk isn't even worth it.
Yeah, that's definitely an option there. Where I might run basically enough speed to outspeed Victini.
Because you could do like 176 Jolly and then 216 HP, which lets you avoid the Adamant V-Create from full.
Yeah,
Assuming Scarf.
I'll probably do something like that.
And then max or 116 attack. I just wonder about the moveset. That's the only thing. Like, I almost wonder if like Triple Axle, Drain Punch, Earthquake is better. The only thing you're missing out on, I guess, is like the Rotom, and I guess to a certain extent the Heracross. But Drain Punch lets you recover, stay healthier. Earthquake lets you hit the guys, specifically Coco, Nihilego, Victini for an Oko at +1, and then Triple Axle lets you just bypass Zazo entirely.
Yeah, where I don't care about something like Overberry because I just have a different coverage move.
Right. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, once again, we'll see.
Right. I mean, you're making the last minute decisions. I'm just thinking out loud for like maybe what some other people are thinking.
Yeah. So when you're finalizing, making sure like the polishes, you usually get a grasp when you do mock battles and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, in a lot of mock battles, I faced almost no Zazo, and the Triple Axle is where it's like, you know, where I faced a lot of Colberberry on, where I faced like maybe like a lot of Colberberry Rotoms or something like that, and or a soft defensive pivot on Mega Glade, and
actually I think you'd want to creep Nihilego, not to be too pedantic here.
Yeah, I'll definitely.
So 200, so 200 jollies for that. Yeah.
So, anyways, yeah. So, so how do you figure out how to finalize what to put on your Pokemon? You're basically doing checks and balances to what your team is most weak to, and most likely situations to help. So, for example, when you have Mega Glade, you have to keep in mind that, okay, what are his defensive responses to it, and then what are his mid-ground plays. So once again, like I said, he can be resist berries. So like, it's not so simple to just run knockoff dual stats Mega Glade because you can run Cold Berry. And then also, if we do run Triple Axle solely for Zazo, and he doesn't bring Zazo, is that a dead move slot? And where it's the opportunity cost of not hitting Mega Heracross and I don't know, Rotom or whatever.
You could do Drain, Zen, Stone Edge.
Yeah, you know, and yeah, I mean, you could run like 4 attacks Mega Glade. Once again, like I said, Leaf Blade. But then you got to consider, okay, what are the odds of him running Rindo Berry? What's the Swamper's EV spread is going to be? How can I account for everything? So when you finalize a team, you're basically looking at what is my team weakest to and how can I patch those weaknesses up as possible. What me and Glop are talking about right now is that, and one of the things that were mentioned is like mid game, how am I going to be able to get these important, like for example, just because Mega Glade it can 2-hit KO Swampert, that might not be a situation that I want to be in, because that taking that damage on Mega Glade could come into play later, where it could actually, that could be potentially a misplay, taking that damage. And then if Swampert especially defensive, then having EVing Greninja to, like, I don't know, avoid a 2 KO from Waterfall into Earthquake or whatever, that also could be kind of silly too if Swampert then also avoids the 2 KO. So you want to, it was always very, very important that your counters to things always, like, actually, just because, like, a mistake I see a lot of people have is they'll have a Ferrothorn and the opponent will have Swampert, and they'll just not run Bullet Seed or Power Whip or something like that, because they'll be like, oh, they'll never stay in. But then there's going to be a situation where they can't switch in a Ferrothorn, and where because they need all the health on Mega Heracross or something like that, and they're just trying to sack Swampert, but then your only move for Swampert is just like knockoff and body
Right.
press, and now you're taking way more damage than you should have, that you needed to, and now you're in range of Power Gem, all
Actually,
because you didn't have Power Whip or whatever.
I actually think the Stone Edge tech might be the play. Just look,
Maybe.
just at the little calcs I've been running while you were talking about stuff, because like Drain Punch and Headbutt Stone Edge hits basically everything you need to hit, and with the bulkier set, like the 216 HP, when you're at +1, you can easily take hits from Cortana. You can even take hits from Cortana when you're not at +1. So like,
Yep.
I think that, like, that is kind of like going back to what you talked about at the very beginning. You know, being multifaceted and you know, having multiple different routes you can take to get around threats, while also like maintaining pressure.
Yeah. So are we doing my
Like the match.
is this, yeah, so are we gonna do the match where when I'm on the phone and I'm playing, or excuse me, am I gonna be vocalizing like all my plays and stuff like that?
Ideally, yes, if you would be okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay doing that.
Alright, cool.
Do you want me to pass you like the thing I have here, or?
Yeah, pass me a team.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll play my boy in here in a couple of minutes then.
Well, I'm on regular showdown, but I can pass it, then you can put it in sports. You want me to give you some solid nickname game?
Sure.
All right,
Oh no.
we'll go with some of the people here that have said some things.
Okay.
Hold on.
Make sure one of them's named something, a funny reference to Sun.
Okay.
Got him.
Yeah. So actually,
I'm gonna name this one after my Ferrothorn I'm doing in a playthrough right now with my girlfriend. We're doing Zeta Omicron.
nice.
Yeah, it's crazy going back to that game, but oh my god, dude, it reminds me of like being a kid. All right, I got the team. I'm gonna pass it to you right now.
Alright, cool.
You can double check over everything and make any little adjustments you'd like to.
Yep.
Okay, there you are.
You know what sucks is that I wish I could just post this team so everybody can see it, but I'm pretty sure everybody watching the stream did see the team.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, I don't want my opponent to. randomly
Your
see it.
opponent isn't ASCII isn't in VC chat anymore, so you can't post it in there. He got removed from that, so you can't see it.
Okay,
Oh, true.
that's cool. Yeah, so the things up for debate
Sad you didn't end up going with the rain dance set. That
It
was
was
heat.
hot. Hey, I made some fire and paint.
Oh yes.
I'm actually going to I'm gonna change it. Okay, so the reason why I'm gonna put close combat over drain punch, because the things that close combat hits, drain punch does not ensure one hit KOs, whereas close combat does. And
You mean without
not
bulking up?
taking yeah, without bulking up, and taking and having that option to just ensure one shots, to me, I value a little bit more. Yeah, so I'm actually gonna run that same Glade, that EV spread, but I'm actually gonna run 4 attacking moves because I don't want to take any damage on Mega Glade from Swampert if that comes into play, because my mid-game response to Swampert is going to be that. Okay, so I'm
you're
keeping
putting Leaf Blade?
this. Yeah, putting Leaf Blade on there. Ferrothorn. I'm actually going to go on the.
I was hoping you'd put Choice Band Ferrothorn on. Not gonna lie. I was hoping for the Choice Band Steel Roller. You got 2 terrains going on, man. I mean, shit, that shit's always gonna be popping.
We'll keep the Landorus.
So your extra insurance versus Swampert then is the Leaf Blade / Grass Knot.
Yes.
Yeah, that should be more than enough to punish it.
Yeah.
What about Taunt on Talonflame?
Yeah, I'll keep Taunt on Talonflame.
Because Rock's gonna be annoying.
Because I'm never gonna Brave Bird the Swampert. I'm just gonna U-turn on it.
Right.
Like, yeah, there's never a time where I'm ever going to click. Yeah, so then there was a comment earlier, which is, would you want to run Flamethrower, because Flare Blitz is taking recoil. The thing is Flamethrower is a horrible move if he clicks, like if he switches out. If there was a better fire move other than Flamethrower, I'd probably put it here. Like, instead of Flare Blitz, if there was like literally like, I don't know, something better, but because Flame Charge and Flamethrower are the alternative moves, I think that I'm okay taking the recoil, because the other 2 moves are just so bad on Talonflame.
It lets you hit Coco a little harder. Lets you hit Rotom harder too.
Yeah, so
And
having,
it'll hit Heracross harder too.
Having Flare Blitz, in my opinion, is more important. And then 2, yeah, so we're gonna have that. And then last is the Coco, or excuse me, the Finny. We're running 108 special attack. I think I'm because originally I think you did it for electric train.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm actually just gonna change it to, let's see, Victini. Versus Finny.
So
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate there was not more time in all this, because we could have talked about so many different variants. Like, for example, I didn't mention that Victini could run something like weakness policy, flame charge. I could account for something like that, and so on and so forth. So meaning that Mega Glade, it could also run like Shadow Sneak could be good on here on Mega Glade, or like Vacuum Wave for
You just
Cortana.
boosted about 30 minutes.
You do still have time, yeah. It just has to start at 5:30 by the latest.
Okay.
You can actually go 120 HP on Feeny. That lets you live Adamant Bolt Strike after rocks, and that's in Mystery Terrain. And then that way you can go 156 special attack.
Yeah, I will do that. And we won't do any aggressive speed creeps. Even
Nah.
though we kind of, yeah.
Because I mean, at this point right now, neither Greninja nor Gallade outspeeds the Kartana. The only things that do are the Talonflame and the Tapu Fini. But other than that, most everything is kind of in order.
Attack.
All right. So will you want like some extra time, or should I let Asky know to?
Yeah, I just need like literally another 2 minutes.
All right.
What kind of changes are you thinking about?
It's just doing like very, very, very micro EV changes.
I think the bigger, I mean, if you're talking about a couple little EVs, that's not a big deal. But I guess the thing that most people,
that's literally all I'm doing.
Oh,
It's just like
I was gonna say,
like literally.
I was gonna say, because I don't know if you're considering changing a speed tier as a micro.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not doing anything like that. It's
Okay, so
literally just kinda...
so you're keeping the speed on Greninja and Gallade as it is.
Yep. I'm not really changing the team. I'm just doing. I'm just looking at small little changes on. So I'm familiar with the damage calcs.
While he's doing that, everyone else here, does anyone have any guesses or predictions on how it's gonna go, what he's gonna bring, what Asky's gonna bring?
I think Killer Asky's gonna 4-0.
Ooh, powerful. I'm thinking 7-0. One of Zazo's mons is gonna change sides.
He's just gonna bring the whole box, you know?
Yeah, this is gonna be a 12v6 actually. I don't think he has 12 mons, but he's bringing 3 Victinis, so it works out.
Exactly. You know, he's prepped for all. Zazo's prepped for every variant of Victini, so just send in 3 of them. See
Yeah, easy.
how it goes.
I feel like if Kecleon comes, it will do a lot of damage. I feel like it might be underprepped a bit for that.
Yeah.
Zazo.
Okay, so
Oh, I was gonna say Haz makes a point, I believe, asking about is there any merit in T-Wave Pharaoh?
yeah, absolutely. But the thing is going back to like the concepts is okay. So it's like, what would you Thunder Wave? You would Thunder Wave. The main 2 things are going to be Mega Heracross and then
I would think Victini or Cart.
Victini.
Yeah.
And with so versus Cart, if Cart is so like in the speed tiers for Kartana, you would just knock it off to get so knock off is Thunder Wave versus Kartana. If it's Choice Scarf, then you get the outspeed with Talonflame and literally everything else. Okay, so knock off is Thunder Wave versus Victini. The things that check Victini already outspeed Victini. Landorus outspeeds Victini after the V create. Tapu Fini outspeeds because it's Choice Scarf. Greninja outspeeds, Talonflame outspeeds, Mega Gallade outspeeds. So all of our Pokemon that are so you would only go for Thunder Wave just to fish for hacks, and then you also if I Thunder Wave, and that's the whole reason why we're eject button. If we Thunder Wave into the into the Victini, now we have to defensively switch into it instead of making we gain a lot more value when he goes Victini. So every single turn, you have essentially 10 different options. Or 9 different options. You can switch. You can make like 5 different switches, or you can click one of your 4 moves. If he's gonna go Victini, I gain more value going into literally anything else than to then click Thunderwave, if that makes sense. Because I don't like the.
It's a better call out.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Because it loses one of my moves. It not only it takes away one of my move slots, it also makes me have to defensively respond to it. When I gain a lot more, if he goes Victini, I'm a lot better going into Greninja or Finny rather than clicking Thunderwave that turn. And the most obvious point in all this, I have the fucking terrain on Tapu Fini as well. So the opportunity cost of it being a dead move on Thunderwave, it just like, once again, if I did a bunch of mock battles for this game and stuff like that, maybe it can come into play. But I personally don't see any value. I don't see more value on Thunderwave on Ferrothorn than I do with the other moves it has. For example, Body Press allows me to get more damage off on the Kartana, makes it so he can't just substitute on me.
It also is 90% accurate, so there's a chance you miss. And if Misty Terrain is up, then it's dead weight as well.
Yeah, where it's like all my other moves are just more consistent and are just more security, where Thunderwave is a little bit, it doesn't give me enough, and it doesn't really reward me enough.
But it's funny.
It's a funny move, yeah.
It is a funny move. By the way, they're saying that Killer is actually on sports for whenever you're ready.
Yeah. So tell them to send it to Iron Flash Gaming because I'm ready.
All right.
All right, yeah, he's sending. All right, he'll be sending it over in that Dex draft.
Okay.
Do you have a
Zazo live heater?
Do you have a final paste?
Yeah, I'll send it to
you. You can put it in VC because he's blocked out of VC.
All right, it's gonna be. I'm gonna do it the Boomer way.
All right.
Let's see what I'm saying. So the final paste of this team, for those who want to follow, it is that. I like posting it in
Boomer fashion. Yeah.
Boomer fashion. Okay, so that's the team.
It's hot.
So let's notice. Okay, he does bring the Kecleon. So we will indeed see if we're weak to that or not. Brought the Zatu. Probably gonna be Overberry. So the things that he benched are gonna be very, very important. Let's look at the matchup real quick. So let's see. He benched Kartana. He benched Hydreigon. So no. So I'll just type in chat. No Cart. No Hydra, because now understanding what he doesn't bring, it means that no Rotom. Yeah, no Rotom. And he does bring the Heracross.
No Hydreigon? Oh my god.
So he benched those 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
We are feasting tonight, boys.
He also benched Bert.
Oh yeah, no Cart. Wow.
Wait, no Cart?
Oh,
Wait.
Swampert.
No, I know Cart.
I'm so
Oh.
confused.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no Cart. Wow.
So, Kecleon, if he's gonna run things, Kecleon, because they're protein, it can ignore stuff like it can Shadow Sneak Mega Gallade to avoid the close combat. He can run Fire Blast for my Ferrothorn. He could run Ice Beam for my or ice move for my Landorus, so on and so forth. It is specially defensive based, so now it's like also understanding like the structure of his team. So that's basically what I'm doing right now. So speed control, if he were to bring a Scarfer, what would it be? Okay, he's got 2 Scarf options in Nihilego and Victini. Understanding, because once again, the other choice Scarf options aren't fast enough for my Pokemon, like Finny and stuff like that.
Or Coco doesn't make sense.
And it doesn't make sense, and it doesn't matter because if Tapu Koko is choice Scarf, it's already walled, but now it's even more walled because it's choice lock versus a Ferrothorn, Assault Vest Lander, so on and so forth. So when you're picking a lead, now usually I like to have like dedicated leads, but because we had such short time team building, we're going to do a lead based on like concepts and stuff like that. So generally speaking, when you're doing leads, you need to account for these things. One, what's the hardest thing that I can't guard versus? Okay, mainly probably going to be Victini and Heracross. So I don't want to lead something that's weak to Victini and Heracross because offensively they do force a lot of Pokemon out. 2 is, okay, what are his hazard setter? Okay, his hazard setters, the only stealth rocker that he has is Kecleon and or Nihilego, if either of them do bring Choice Scarf or Stealth Rock. And then if you can lead off with something that has momentum, then that's usually pretty good too. So if it isn't obvious, I'm going to lead Landorus because it guards versus the 2 things that are hardest for me to guard versus are going to be Victini and Mega Heracross because he is strong. I can U-turn versus like Kecleon or like literally anything if I don't have a good matchup versus something. And I threaten Stealth Rocks, so if he goes Zatu, I get a lot of momentum from clicking U-turn versus that. Well, then I get in my Greninja and so on and so forth. So yeah, anyways, yes, I'm gonna lead Lando. Hopefully all that made sense. He goes Coco. His place. So right now, even though I do have a Ferrothorn that is dedicated to deal with Tapu Koko, Landorus, it is a little bit expendable in the sense of because I have the proper speed control versus Heracross, like all my guys outspeed, I don't necessarily need to keep Landorus always for a Heracross check. So the moves he's gonna click are gonna be Dazzling Gleam, U-turn, or Nature's Madness. I'm going to click U-turn here. He could also click Taunt here, but yep. So he clicks that. So I need to now see his Coco spread. So my Landorus is minus attack. We're gonna go Coco, and so then we also just gained a lot of information. So we're gaining. So the early game is all about gaining information. So 1, he was willing to keep Tapu Koko in versus Landorus when he has everything in the back. Okay, is he over predicting or is he designed to do this? So maybe like AKA is he Shuckaberry or something like that, which also would have punished my Earthquake Mega Glade if I had brought that. So U-turn. Let's see, modest 12. So my U-turn did 9%. So he shows he's max HP Coco with his def as well, aka so he's max bulk on Coco. So our options are to either go out into if we go Ferrothorn, obviously, if he U-turns, they'll activate our item. We can't go Greninja. We don't really want... Yeah, so he doesn't have waters. We don't want to go Tapu Fini. He's not in range. We can go... and then our last option is we could go into Tapu Fini to then pivot back into Landorus here. So our options are pretty... So, yep, so that's what I'm going to decide to do. We're going to go Tapu Fini, because then We're gonna then go out back into Landers here. Leading the electric move if he U-turns, Landers covers for that as well. Obviously, even though... Oh, okay, then he goes out onto this. Yeah, hopefully my screen's messing up on my phone. 1 second. Alright, cool. So he goes Kecleon. We're gonna U-turn here. We go Zatu. We predicted Stealth Rocks. And this just gives me an opportunity now to go out into Greninja. Let's see, is there better? Always look for better as well. Yep, so this just gives me Greninja. So we can either click the water move. And so he went out into Kecleon on the Finny, so meaning he's showing that he's a defensive response. Yeah, so I'm gonna surf, he goes Kecleon. So he reveals his leftovers. Could be recover. So I'm going to call in a Mega Glade. Does that make sense? Is this Coco? It could be Helmet. Is Zatu? Yeah, so Mega Glade, it is the... Yep, so he reveals he's Recover. And so he is most likely a... so his plays, okay, he can be a Meme Lord and Shadow Sneak, but his other plays are to either go out into Zatu, let's open the damage calc. We were to knock off here. Alright, so Glade, if he was a Zatu, we saw his U-turn damage versus Landorus. So Colbur does... Yeah, so it does jack shit. So we're gonna see right now. Let's see. As he goes Tapu Koko, revealing that he was Shuckaberry. And this is where we use our tech in Ferrothorn. And this now grants us a... So his speed control, and he didn't go Zatu on the Mega Glade earlier, which is interesting. So our plays are to either go back out in the Mega Glade if we avoid, because he's no special attack. So Coco, Dazzling Gleam, he's no special attack. We're like what, 200 HP. So that's one option, to either Dazzling Gleam. Our next option is to go Lando. Going into the water type, he does have a Kecleon. So I think we gain a little bit more so if we go Landorus, he's getting closer in range of Surf from Finny. Or I can go out in a Mega Glade. I think I do want to go out into Landorus. And then here, our plays are to if he goes... Yeah, I'm actually going to Earth Power if he does go Zatu. It's not a very forcing Pokemon. And I should be... So I should get a slow U-turn on Zatu if he decides to go into that. If he goes out into anything else, we'll take an Earth Power. So Coco and Nature's Madness U-turn. Max HP with Fizz Def. Probably enough Fizz Def. Probably enough speed for max speed. Alright, goes Zatu. So we get the slow U-turn. Momentum. Yeah, so now in the okay, already click teleport. The alright, what would be the most forcing Pokemon? We'll go out and Tapu Fini here. Cause limits his two Pokemon, Victini and Heracross. Those are the two Pokemon we're trying to limit the most. So now, even if he's Cold Berry on Zatu, that isn't ranged into a KO from knockoff. So you see, like, the builder where we kind of messed up is we could have had different coverage on Mega Gleed, whether it be like triple Axle or Stone Edge. Kecleon. Okay. So the only thing we know about this Kecleon is that he's a defensive response and he does have leftovers recover. We still don't know, so he could be knockoff here. Let's see. If we go Ferrothorn, we're susceptible of... Yeah, so we're gonna go Talonflame here. It's up Stealth Rock. Okay. And now, funny enough, so Stealth Rock's recover. So he's 2 attacking moves. All right. He's 1 the hazard game, but I do have boots, and my team's not too weak. So Stealth Rock's recover. We need to see his other 2 coverage moves here. What 2 Pokemon, or what coverage moves would he run? So he goes Nihilego. So our plays are to either go out into Greninja, Surf, goes Kecleon. Can knock off. He goes Coco. We could go Zen Headbud. Alright, let's go this. We're gonna Zen Headbud. Potentially scared of. Alright, so that is 28. I think this should be in range of knockoff, even if he's Colbur. Yep. So we did get a little progress, but obviously we are in the back due to Nature's Madness. We outplayed the Resist Berry. And he doesn't know our other coverage moves, so he still has to respect other stuff. So we can actually Zen here, but because we are too weak to Kecleon, even though okay, so for example, Mega Glade, it can win this exchange right now and Zen Headbutt twice. We avoid Nature's Madness and a Dazzling Gleam. We do live that, but just because we can do that doesn't mean that we should, especially because we're going to take also, he could run probably a little bit of special attack investment. I'm assuming he's no special attack investment due to how Fizz Def he is. And then he's gonna run speed, but we haven't confirmed the speed tier and special attack, but I'm assuming he's like literally no special attack. But yeah, anyways, he does also have to respect a little bit my Ferrothorn clicking hazard removal too. So I'm switching out. The question is into what? If I go Ferrothorn to get the helmet, I do. So the good thing about going preserving Ferrothorn though is that it's still my main rock resist. So if you were to Dazzling Gleam here. Yeah, so obviously the conversation is we go Lando here or if we go Ferrothorn. Let's go Ferro. So I think that's in range now of Zen Headbud. Let's see, Tapu Koko. It's got a lot of his stuff. 160. That's a damage roll to kill my Zen. Okay. Yeah, and then this was the other situation. Yeah, I forgot about I wanted to run Ironhead for this situation because he could have EV'd for this, but him clicking sub was a massive misplay because I could have been attack investment and then always break the sub. And the problem with him clicking substitute is he's slowly getting himself weaker to surfs. Because Mega Heracross is basically a water resist, so that was a big misplay by my opponent. So my plays are to either go Landorus here, just in case this does, yeah, nice Psychic here. Yeah, so that was probably a damage roll based on like him just clicking sub spam. Obviously Landorus was a strong play there. Cover for that. Obviously Psychic break sub. So his coverage is probably what? Bullet Seed, Close Combat, and Rock Blast substitute. So yeah, he definitely fucked up there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course he gets 5 hits. Right, Sun?
So
Alright.
lucky.
Oh, lucky, wow.
Oh my god, how'd he do it? So assuming, so he because my Landorus is really slow, he reveals his Landorus, or his Heracross is really slow. I know, crazy. Alright, let me do a damage calc to see if he's max attack or what kind of attack investment. Alright, let's see. Landorus. So 248, 248 Landorus. Defensive 248. What I'm doing now is trying to get his attack investment because I'm assuming no speed. The reason why the attack investment is so important is so I know his bulk. It's basically what I'm doing calc for. It's called EV manipulation. So Mega Heracross. I'm really slow at calcing, so we go for Bullet Seed. Assuming that he's adamant. Bullet Seed. Bullet Seed's so weird to calc because you gotta calc each hit. So each hit did, I don't know, 7%, so 714. So 14. So he reveals that he's basically max HP, max attack. Yeah, meaning so he is basically like max attack. So that means he's not running like max special defense or anything like that. So that being said, would a Greninja, modest choice spec Surf, okay, Hydro no shit kills, Surf, does 65 on, but 252, it's 53, he is at 51, yeah, so now you're seeing why, because he grants me, he gives me Surf here, Greninja. Let's Obviously, always look for a better play. Flare Blitz is he went Nihilego earlier on the Talonflame, showing that it's a defensive response there. So obviously we go Gren, click serve. Yeah, so this is a problem with him. Like, Kecleon's cool, but it's not a water resist like Hydreigon was. But he did get up Stealth Rocks, so he's winning a Hazard War. So I'm up 5-3 or 5-4, but he gets momentum, goes Coco. Yeah, no shit. So no shit, I go Pharaoh here. So let's think the next several plays. If he U-turns on Ferrothorn, obviously I now he'll be in range of Zen Headbutt, so that's really important. So I might play. I can be like Sun and go Talonflame here on the U-turn, get the Flame Body burn. No reason. Yeah, no reason not to. So, but now I'm a little bit weak. Yeah. So if he roosts, that doesn't matter. And then here. So, what should U-turn do earlier? I don't remember. Doesn't matter. Yeah. So, meaning yeah. So he doesn't actually kill me here. So I can either gyro here. I can gyro, knock off. I can click any one of my moves here, except pop. Obviously, I'm not clicking body press. So his two plays, his real play should be go Victini, but he might value Victini to not like risk a knockoff here. So he could roost predicting knockoff, or so yeah. So his plays are he could either roost if he is roost, because he didn't reveal roost. Because he could be Dazzling Gleam on the last slot to actually hit Mega Gleam, but doesn't have to be. Gyro. But anyways, yeah. So let's see if I were to gyro into the Victini, how much does that do? So Victini. Hopefully he's not Trick Room, cringe shit. All right, Ferrothorn. Knock. And this will tell me if he's Choice Scarf Victini or not if I gyro. So gyro does fucking 0. What the fuck? Hopefully Glop is clutch. Yes. So Sassy. Holy shit, am I slow at calcing? Sassy. 0 IVs and speed. So that will do like 23. Depending on the speed tier. So I'm gonna click gyro because it actually gives me information on Victini. And then obviously it counts for reverse play. It's not easy for him. Yeah, so he went Kecleon because he didn't want to go Victini on knockoff. And then obviously he can't go Nihilego on Pharaoh. So cover is a normal move. So I'm gonna body press obviously here. So he does reveal, yeah, so that so then he clicks knockoff, so he's a physical variant. This gives me Moonblast. This gives me, what do I play this here? This gives me so it either gives me Mega Glade to close combat. It gives me Finny to Moonblast, and then also it could give me a if I go Mega Glade close combat, he goes Coco. What do I do then? Obviously I'm Coco weak, so I don't want to make a play that gives me easy Coco because obviously I don't have my Laners or Ferrothorn there, so I don't want to just. And clicking Zen Headbutt on Kecleon seems kind of fucking weird. Obviously he's gonna switch out Kecleon versus Mega Glade, but I need to make that prediction right. I could go Talonflame the U-turn because he's bug type, or he's dark typing. That's just like an easy middle ground move, but that might not give me enough. And then Moonblast will give him a Nihilego pivot, or Victini. So I don't. Okay, the worst move is Moonblast. Gives him too much. So I'm forced to go Mega Blade. So the question is, what do I click? I can either click. I can click Close Combat, and then if he goes, I would have to pivot in a. I would have to pivot into Finny on Coco if I Close Combat on that. I can Zen predicting that should kill Coco. Then I can obviously knock off. This is a middle ground play to get rid of these leftovers and cover for Victini. I'm actually gonna knock off here because oh, that's really good for me that he's an idiot. Alright, sweet. Let me calc Leaf Blade. That's actually so funny that he's bad. Because that doesn't help him. Because even it doesn't give him beat rate. Alright, so I think this Zen should kill. Let me actually calc Kecleon. What a funny mod. Stupid ass fucking Kecleon. I'm really out here actually fighting Kecleon. Alright, obviously he's max HP. Glade. $104. Zen. Obviously kills. Leaf Blade. How much should that be? Oh, yeah. Yeah, Leaf Blade kills if I don't want to miss. These should sack this. But I'm gonna risk the miss here. Yeah, Leaf Blade was probably the correct play. Because it doesn't, I gave him potential recover. So I think I misplayed there. Should have Leaf Bladed. Whatever. Yeah, I should have Leaf Bladed there. Because Zen and Leaf Blade do the same thing to Victini. Nihilego's not a Pokemon, and Coco. Well, I guess Zen killed Coco and Leaf Blade didn't. So obviously my win condition is Water Shuriken for Choice Scarfer, but then Surfs. Just click Surf every time. So here, I have no reason not to go out into Talonflame obviously, because so here endgame should be very simple. My I obviously I don't stay in, but because Talonflame loses to Coco and it loses to Victini, or excuse me, because Talonflame loses to Nihilego and Coco, Talonflame is my most expendable Pokemon. I'm up 4-3, so this is just like really obvious endgame theory for a Pokemon. That and they're just winning by timer. I mean that's how that's really how to win the game is through timer. But yeah, so I go Talonflame, and it doesn't matter what I click with Talonflame. It doesn't matter if he even clicks it doesn't matter if he clicks Bolt Strike or not. It does not matter, because then I'm gonna go out into my water Pokemon. Click the water move. If he's Choice Scarf Bolt Strike, I gotta keep that in mind, but I get to scout damage too. It's a really good thing I'm Fizz Def on Talonflame, because I'll get to see I might be able to live this Bolt Strike. I don't know what he's calcing. I think he's probably like, oh, you know, should I V-Cray here or should I Bolt Strike? Obviously Bolt Strike. I'm going, yeah, so I don't know what the fuck that play was. Is that banded? Yeah, that's banded. Obviously it's banded, but I just want to double check. Yeah, another misplay. It's unfortunate. Other than, I wish he would have Bolt Strike, because then that would have made the end game better, but now the end game is too simple. So 240. That'd be funny if I lost. Alright, 240 versus 148. Victini. Choice band. Wait. Oh my god, Talonflame is trash. That's not even choice band. Wait, how would he... 41. Yeah, okay, so he's not even choice band. So what are my plays here? So his plays are to. All right. So basically, do I click Flare Blitz or U-turn? If he is choice scarfed. All right. Let's think this out. So his Coco's not choice scarf. So his two choice scarfers are either Nihilego or. So I don't want to lose the choice scarf Sludge Wave here. So if he stays in, alright, let's think this out. I think I want to just Flare Blitz. Dude, Talonflame's trash. Obviously, U-turn and then choice scarf Surf here with Finny. It doesn't matter what he does. So he roosts, he thunderbolts, doesn't matter, whatever. I'm gonna U-turn. So he went for so he switched out there. The reason why I went for Flare Blitz there was if he was like boots or something stupid, and I click U-turn as he stays in, and he clicks Bolt Strike, that would have been a really bad position for me. Whereas like this position, I'm still fine. So if he clicks Thunderbolt here, Roost, I don't care. He should click Thunderbolt here, because yeah. So the reason why this play doesn't work is this. If I just surf this. This is, by the way, I usually don't like. If I had more EVs, I would just run literally max speed, or excuse me, max special attack on Finny, because I didn't want a situation like this to happen. All right, let me do Damn Fuck real quick. So I might click Hydro. I don't want to click Hydro because that just seems like a choke. Because obviously I would live Thunderbolt because he's no special attack. But all right, Coco. I just don't want to be in a position where. All right, so Coco max HP versus Modest Surf. So I'm 152. Modest. Hydro. Surf. 43 to 51. So Surf. All right. So okay. Let's look at it like this. If I Surf to it KOs. But then I think Hydro's better. But if I Surf. He gets chip on me, and then I'll be in range of Sludge Wave. I mean, I might be already in range of Sludge Wave, so I think yeah, HP on this actually doesn't matter. Yeah, so I Surf. It was a damage roll, but yeah, he goes Nihilego. So is this a Scarfer? So I sack Talon, go Glade. All right, let's think this out. I just want to double check, because if I can live Sludge Wave, then I stay in here because it puts him in range, and then I just went with Water Shuriken. I just want to do this as cleanly as possible here. So Finny, 124. 124 versus we'll do Modest Scarf Nihilego. So Nihilego, Modest. It's a damage roll actually. 87.5. Alright, so he should be Sludge Bomb. He's always gonna Sludge Wave. Okay. So I go Talon, Mega Glade. Okay. Oh, he's Speed Boost. So actually I would have lived that because he's timid. So he has to run. He's not max special attack.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but you still got it.
Okay, don't.
You still
Yeah,
got
I
it.
mean you don't have to say anything, my guy.
You still got it.
So,
Yeah.
So. Let's see. I I go Gallade. I think that will put, if I go Gallade and knockoff, I think that puts him in range of Water Sharking. I just wanna. I don't want to damage calc. Let's see. This puts him in range of Water Sharking. Let's see. 124. Yeah, the speed boost doesn't matter, obviously. 124. Okay, so 104. Blade. 104. Oh, where's the Lego? Knockout. What about Greninja? So knockoff shit. Let's see. Greninja. Yeah, so even if I get 2 hits, should still kill. Hopefully he switches out to Victini. So I knock off. Doesn't matter if what he does. I knock off, then go, and then Water Shuriken after this. Oh, not Salt Vest. Oh my god. That's funny. Alright. Let's see if I lose a Scarf. Bolt Strike. 1, 2. Where's my Ash Grin form? What the fuck? Alright, so he clicks Bolt Strike. 1, 2. Alright, let's see, does that matter? Let me do I think. Let's see. Vinny versus Victini. So I know we see Bolt Strike. Probably was
Bolster paste.
Yeah,
was 124.
Bolster paste.
124.
I'm getting it.
Depends.
Trying to find. Why did I not find DC?
You could just go in.
Oh, because you
Were
got
you blocked
removed,
out?
so
Yeah.
you couldn't see.
Oh.
So you
Okay,
couldn't
fair enough.
see how many.
You can just type in the.
Yeah, I just did show
in
team.
chat,
Were
like,
you Scarf,
excellent
Victini?
multiple team.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, of course I was.
Adamant?
I was naive now.
Okay, so yeah, so I won always then, because I have
Okay, you had bulk on Finny.
yeah.
It was you
How
didn't
much?
you didn't always win. It was a roll, but it was in your
How much
favor.
Well,
do
you
you
could have gotten. You could have gotten crit by the bolster.
Well, no, it was in his favor to live it because if you're adamant, if you're naive max, Bolt Strike to that Fini does 67 to 79. He would have been at 75 after rocks.
How bulky was it? Sorry.
124 HP.
24.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know it would have taken essentially. Yeah, it would have been a roll in your favor, but like, still a decent roll. In that case, I kind of wish I'd just not gotten the roll. Oh well.
Which roll?
the roll on Finny. I wish I'd hit Ren and not gotten the roll on Finny.
Oh, fair
Would have
enough.
felt more satisfying.
Yeah, that was a really shitty way to end it.
What is this?
Yeah.
Cocoa?
What was the cocoa?
What is this cocoa spread?
Oh,
I
here it
posted
is.
in,
No.
chat.
What is this for? Well, like, what are these
Oh,
numbers?
well, I mean, I need to not lose to delay. That's what it's for. I figured that he probably wouldn't poison jab, and there was a chance he also wasn't earthquake. And if so, then this Coco took hits, and it at least put Delayed in range of 15 in the Helio. That was, like, my win con in this game was always Helio or 15. That was the way I designed the team.
Yeah. So now kind of like going hindsight, how can we look at the team and see what we did good, what we did bad, and kind of learned? By the way, a comment that I made earlier was running Rain Dance on Mega Glade, spicy as that sounds. And a lot of the people in the call were like, oh, that doesn't even make sense because it sounds like a very niche thing. But obviously that would have opened up. That would have meant if I had Rain Dance on Mega Glade, that means that Kecleon no longer can like avoid the 2KO from water moves, and then V-Crate does track
Yeah,
shit.
that would have messed me up hard.
And then obviously boosting Water Shuriken a little bit more. I was for Rain Dance.
Killer, you
Yeah.
you almost had that actually.
I know.
It would have been a roll. It would have been a roll though, and it would
Like,
have been.
yeah, it would have been a roll, and I had to hit 2 Volt Strikes, but like
Yeah, let me see, cause
that I was that close. It was a 37.5% roll, I believe.
I'm looking at the chances right now. Yeah, so 37.5 chance to Oko. Yeah. Well, factor in the misses, and so it's closer to like a.
Well, yeah, it's clearly in Zazu's favor, but
Right,
it was a
right,
very
right.
close game. I can't ask for much more without actually being.
That's fair. That's fair. So yeah, I mean, in this
That was
case
fun.
here, Rain Dance could have been hot.
Yeah, so other things like to look at, I ended up running a little bit too much grass coverage because you didn't bring the Swampert. And so if I had brought, my Mega Glade was 4 attacks. I wasn't like Sword Zinks or anything like that. So if I had ran,
Bulk up or something.
no, bulk up would have hurt. If I would have ran triple axle for the Zatu and then Earthquake. Yeah, so if my coverage was close combat, Zen Headbud, yeah, that's what I want to change. Yes, so close combat, Zen Headbud, triple axle, Earthquake. That looked to be a little bit more optimal here. Just because the reason why. What were you saying?
No, I was just thinking like I would have expected knockoff over Axel, but otherwise those would be expected
Right, because
attacks.
so going back to like the team building stuff is like, so the if I were to run triple axle, it's one of those things because the most obvious coverage moves were dual stabs knockoff on Mega Glade. If you were to bring a resist berry, it would be Culver Berry because
And even
Mega
if
Glade
it was
has
Yachi, that doesn't really help with Axel much.
exactly. Yeah. So that's one of those things where, for example, if you did bring Rotom, Zen Headbutt is a neutral attack, so it still does a lot of damage there. And we saw like every single so we did see that every single time Mega Glade came in, it was a little bit beneficial for me to like attack every single turn instead of bulk up or anything like that. The Ferrothorn, if it was Stealth Rocks here, I technically did have an opportunity to click Stealth Rocks at the late game, the turn that I clicked Gyro on the Kecleon. If I had went for Stealth Rocks that turn, your Victini would have been a range of, in theory, would have been a range because I only got 2 hits. But if I had gotten 3 hits, it would have been. Then if I had, so the things to like learn about the team build is like if I had gotten rid of body press on Ferrothorn, obviously getting because if I had spent a little bit more time on the team building, I would have had a different steel move because obviously it was pretty. I didn't want Ferrothorn to not be able to break the sub.
Yeah. Like, I was kind of hoping you wouldn't be Gyro Ball because, I was trying to hope to set up with Heracross on it.
Yeah, and that actually, so you
well.
being you clicking substitute actually hurt you a lot because you're putting yourself in range of Surf from Greninja, whereas if you had kept that at full,
I agree, but at the same time, Heracross is mostly just there to force some progress, and I figured if I let Heracross die to Surf, I get either Victini, Togo, or Kecleon in after. I don't remember if Kecleon is still alive at this point or not. But I figured I have enough ways to revenge Greninja that I can afford to make the trade if I get it.
And theoretically, you set it up really well too. I would say because like with the
I'm gonna be honest.
with the
I
Lando
did
and the
kind
Pharaoh.
of missed out with the second sub.
I would say with the Pharaoh and the Lando being weakened or gone, then you set up great for Victini to just bolt strike through.
Yeah, that was the plan.
The Galley would always
for
be
either
the
Nihilego.
obstacle, but yeah.
Yeah, well, Nihilego and Victini were the plans, as I said.
And the
Uh,
Nihilego could have been actually pretty good.
yeah, the
And-
Assault Fest looks really weird, but I can explain it.
But,
if
I
it's
mean,
necessary.
it worked.
Yeah, so other things to keep in mind in the team build is that, funny enough, Steel Wing had a little bit of utility on Talonflame.
Oh, I
The
definitely
other-
would have considered hear that. Yeah.
Yeah, so right now what I'm doing is like, okay,
Oh, I'm
looking
sorry.
at... Yeah, sorry. What I mean is, one of the things I try to teach people when they... A post-game is very important because it's the opportunity to look what you did good, what you did bad, and what did you learn from the battle, your play, so on and so forth. So the things that we did good was, one, we brought a water spam team versus a team that you didn't have a water resist because you didn't bring Hydreigon. We saw that worked well. And we saw, a lot of our tech worked well. And then now, like, some of the things that could have been a little bit different is, one, if we had another thing that we could have done is switched items on Ferrothorn, switch items on Tapu Fini and Greninja. So if Greninja was choice scarfed and Tapu Fini was choice specs, the roles would have been different, where the cool thing about Greninja, it stops all your win conditions because it has, instead of relying on Water Shuriken, I have the outspeed versus Scarf Victini. I have the outspeed versus Nihilego. The difference is that team, if I were to be Choice Scarf Greninja, I definitely would need to be. I would have to be a lot more forcing to get up Stealth Rock, which is tricky because you have Zatu. But because Greninja, it would obviously need to have around a Stealth Rock to actually kill Victini and Nihilego. If you weren't, if you're Choice Scarf. Or
Funnily
whatever,
enough, from my perspective, I actually thought that was better for me if you had been the Scarf Greninja and Specs Tapu Fini. Because that way I can use Tapu Fini to set up my without having to take a hit like I did in the game. And then I would be extremely healthy at the end.
Yeah.
Because the AV meant... I lived Specs Hydro Pump from Greninja, so I definitely could have taken Scarf Greninja hit, was what I thought, if I was healthy. Assuming I could keep the Assault Vest, of course, which I didn't, but...
Sag.
still.
Yep.
But also, if you let me get a second speed boost, then...
Mr.
doesn't matter
Zazo?
either.
Do we have any closing thoughts? I do have to get going.
Alrighty, sir. That's pretty much it. Hopefully, it's more so like if anybody's got any questions or comments about this game. Pretty much.
GG.
Make sure you throw them in the DGBA comment section, because that
Oh,
way
yeah.
we will be able to address and answer those questions. And I'm sure Mr. Zazo can also go in there and give his thoughts on the matchup. So can Killer Aski. Thank you guys for tuning into this event. It was wonderful to have all of you here. We will see you in the next DGBA video. Have a great rest of your day, and until then, stay safe, guys.
Peace.